Well, before we get done with the White Sox here and actually take a break, I'd like to remind you of an anniversary we share, which would be April 18th, 2007, 15 years ago. This is the 15th anniversary of Mark Buehrle's no-hitter against the Texas
Ah,
Rangers.
yes. That's right. I forgot we wanted to talk about that. We also have another anniversary today, too.
What's that?
Not one that we share, but it is the anniversary today. It's proof of perfect games aren't always about the pitcher. They're about the team you're playing because it's the 10th anniversary of Phil Humber's
Perfect game in Seattle.
game in Seattle. Yeah.
Ah, wow. There's
And
a lot going
let
on
me
in
tell you
April.
guys, I'm gonna tell you again, as I say every year when this comes up, he is not a good pitcher. But he has a perfect game.
He has a perfect game, and we never heard about him ever again. He
I think
basically
he
disappeared after that moment.
He ended the season with like an ERA almost around 6 before they just like cut him loose.
I mean, did
It's
he
hard to
just
believe
stay
he
in?
had a perfect game.
It's almost like he got lost in Seattle. Is he still there, like wandering around? Like what happened?
He's sleepless in Seattle.
Well, I think the happier
but
anniversary is
the happy anniversary is this is a great story. It's always a great story.
We tell this story many times, but it's the 15th anniversary, so let's tell it again.
All right, so let me set it for you guys. I've got White Sox. I got full season tickets at this point that I'm sharing with 3 other people.
Just 2 years removed from your World Series championship.
That is correct. I end up with an extra ticket, or I have it. I think it was actually the Dave who I shared tickets with couldn't go that night, so I had the tickets. So I start calling around because he's like, I can't go. I'm like, well, I'll go. Buehrle's pitching. It's not going to be that long of a game anyway, even though it's butt ass cold out. I called several Sox.
A blustery mid-April night.
I called several Sox fans. One of those, Sean Buehrle, who literally, well, I text him. He literally replies back, "I'm not going. It's too cold out."
It's too
so
cold.
I'm like, Smitty's not a Sox fan, but he loves baseball. Let me hit up the Detroit Cubs fan to see if he wants to go to a April baseball game at U.S. Cellular Field at the time.
I had been to other games with other Sox games with you to that point.
No, I know, but the conditions, I could see why why a non-Sox fan would say no. Smitty took me up on the offer.
Well, no, there's more to that, actually. I kind of didn't want it. I'm like, well, let Sean have it. He's the Sox fan. And he's like, Smitty can have it. I just got sick of the back and forth. I'm like, I'll take it. I'll go.
Right. So what happened in that game was one of the craziest fan experiences I think you and I have ever had at a game. Buehrle's only flaw that night was a walk to Sammy Sosa,
of all people,
which basically sent this Sosa-hating fan on a tirade to say the most awful things, the most violent, awful things about Sammy Sosa that you could ever imagine in your life.
Yeah, there was, of course, the obligatory angry guy that always sat in front of you that we've commented on many times. But there are also people behind us that were saying...
I got to pause.
All right.
Oh, my God. I had to pee so bad. I
can't believe I didn't pick up on the visual cues. It was so obvious. I was just, Buehrle, Sosa. You're fucking knocking over stools, dancing around. I didn't pick up on anything there.
Should we just start that part over?
Oh, I was just thinking about just start with describing the game because we described how I got the ticket and Paolo turned it down. So just start with the description of the game.
Okay. Yeah. So we get out to the field. It's a blustery night. We're sitting there, and the big deal of the game was Buehrle almost pitched the perfect game that night, except for the blemish of walking Sammy Sosa, which
of all people, with the Texas Rangers at that point, of course. So
yeah, with Texas Rangers, he's already despised in Chicago. He's kind of despised in Chicago in general at that point, but
yes,
but he's the Sox fans do not have any love for him, and there was just this angry Sammy Sosa fan behind us that actually
there were several.
I
One in particular, though, you're right.
yeah, he was saying like, I hope your family dies. I'm gonna, I
I'm
mean,
gonna
like
eat
it
your
was,
children.
yeah, it was awful. At one point, I think I looked at you. I'm like, I'm kind of getting uncomfortable by this guy. Like it wasn't even in fun spirits, right? There was nothing
Oh,
fun about it. It was
it was
just
scary.
pure angry venom. Where like you might be like, yeah, this guy needs. You need to file a restraining order against this dude, Sammy, because he may come at you after the game.
It's
Um,
unfortunate that that was the one blemish to take away the perfect game, but Buehrle would make
yeah,
up for that
but
later.
the even funnier part, I think that guy was like funny and disturbing at the same time. But there was this gentleman sitting directly behind us that kept sort of leaning over between Ryan and I. And goes, "You guys know what's going on here?
Oh my god, I forgot about that guy.
Do you know? Do you know? You guys know what is happening, right?" We're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, we're
Yes,
good." Yeah,
well
and then
aware.
he'd be like, "Oh my god, do you think this is going to happen?" And he just kept like leaning over and talking to us, and we're just like, yeah, we got it. Like, don't jinx it. Whatever. These are like the
I think he was
unwritten
careful.
no
I think
hitter
you're right.
rules.
He was careful not to say the words no hitter. So but he
Yeah,
was, but he
but
doesn't need to keep talking to us about it.
yeah, but we survived the cold, and were treated to. It wasn't. I mean, obviously Burley was working, and it was a no hitter, so it was a pretty damn quick game. The
It
Sox
was
won that
quick.
night, and I believe not long after the game ended, I think before we exited the park, there was a text from Sean Pawala, sort of not enjoying the fact that he was
Lamenting
not
the
able,
fact.
lamenting the fact that he did not attend the ball game, and I hope Smitty enjoyed the game. So
I did enjoy the game, even though I was not a White Sox fan. Certainly not a Texas Rangers fan, so that made it a little bit easier. But yeah, it was cold, but it was worth the time. It's also led to my mantra that I will never turn down free baseball tickets, just because who knows what the fuck could happen. And of course, I saw a no hitter. That is that was the first of two no hitters that I've seen in my life in the ballpark. Unfortunately, both of those were for teams that I was not rooting for at the time. I was not rooting against your White Sox, but I wasn't rooting for you guys that night. But I also saw Cole Hamels pitch a no
oh,
hitter
that's right. I forgot about that.
against the Cubs on probably the hottest day of my life. Unbelievably hot in the bleachers, but it was almost dueling no hitters because Jake Arrieta. I'm pretty sure this is 2015 when Jake Arrieta, or maybe it was 2014 when Jake Arrieta was first getting on the radar, and he blew his no hitter late in the game. But I was trying to get the fuck out of there early because it was so damn hot in the bleachers. But we stuck around just because Cole Hamels had a no hitter going for the Phillies at the time. And of course, he ended up getting it on a crazy, crazy catch in center field. That shouldn't have happened. But so yes, I've seen two no hitters now. One thanks to Sean Pahula for turning down the tickets, and one that I was not really happy about with Cole Hamels beating the Cubs at the time. So never here. The moral of the story is never turn down free baseball tickets because you never know what
Never,
the see.
never.
Word Hole Media.